All right, so now we're here to the architecture part, so we're being patient. So Adrian Cockcroft is a guy who's basically responsible for, in the words of Lisa Schlecht, flipping a complex system. He took Netflix, the poor BB company that was going to collapse, and turned it into the powerhouse that it is today. Although you can't see that from the outside because it's not apparent what he did. But for any large, complex system, especially in the internals and technical space, we have to assume that everything inside is always broken or about to break. So how do we provide for a good experience if that's the case? Next slide. So we have architectural drivers that are geared with that in mind. And so we did an architectural road mapping exercise in August with all the architects. We locked them in a room, we gave them 2 pizzas and made them fight it out. And the architects in the room are the ones that are left. So there are different themes that we're looking at with that preceding quote in mind. How do we give great service assuming that things underneath are breaking all the time, or not reliable, or maybe having issues? And we know from both lower environments and production that there are typically issues going on, and they are typically always apparent to the user, if not the user being the first person who knows that they're going on. And then they call the help desk, and then we find out. So things like performance, which we're always working on, and I think we've done a good job over the last year or so sort of cutting some of our performance numbers in half. That doesn't mean we're satisfied because we're still way above the industry average. Most services respond in milliseconds. We count our services sort of in the hundreds of milliseconds rather than in tens of milliseconds, and that's a problem. Another driver is time to market. So in order for us to deliver value quickly, we have to be able to push things out quickly. Not just in terms of elaboration and getting to requirements, but also in terms of how quickly can we turn those requirements into something that can be realized in production, get feedback, make an adjustment, and push the next thing out. So there's speed of elaboration, speed of development, deployment, measurement, and change that we're all a part of. Availability. What that translates to, our core, Sherry Smith, her mantra is no downtime. And so we try very hard every month to create that reality, especially during releases. That has to do with the way that we deploy, with the way that we handle changes, and more so how we build things. Because right now, the way that we build things requires things to go down in order for us to make any changes. Sort of related to that is resiliency. We know that we are sort of the face of a lot of systems that manage data. We collect information from BGS, we collect information from beers, and we present that to the end user. If there are any problems with the back end, we end up showing the user a yellow banner, and the user doesn't go, oh, BGS, I'm so angry at them. They don't say BGS, they say e-benefits. And they write their congressperson, and they write things on user groups about how upset they are with us. So we can do better in terms of giving them a better experience, because we are that layer. They have a right to be angry with us if we're not giving them that good experience. We know that the back-end systems are going to have issues. All systems have that. Some of the architectural patterns that we're pulling in for EDSS future state come from leaders of industry. The way that Uber does it, the way that Halo does it, the way that Netflix does it, the way that Salesforce does it, the way that Google does it, that Amazon does it. There are standard patterns in the industry that we're going to start applying specifically because they all have these problems. Security. We have standards for that, and we're looking for ways to kind of streamline the way that we do security and also the way that we handle user registration and access. Sustainability is sort of related to the way that we build things, and portability as well. Right now, we're running within AITC. There is, I don't know if I'd call it a mandate, but there is, I guess, recommendations is the right way to say it, coming down that we have to be able to run anywhere, which is where we want to be able to run anyway, right? Within AITC, within the cloud, that sort of portability or that sort of movement should be of no concern to application development. we shouldn't care. We can already run it on, all the developers and testers can already run it on their laptops if they need to. So these are our main themes for architecture. And notice that they're all around how do we create a better experience for the user? How do we look like this thing never goes down, knowing that under the covers there's a lot of stuff going on. It's like a duck, right? The duck's sailing across the water, looks very calm and serene. And underneath the water, his little feet are going like